Call this meeting to order, January 4th, 2021, Board of Supervisors. Would Pastor Ken Simmons come down, please? If everybody would rise and stay on your feet for the presence of you.
Our gracious God, we are thankful for this new year and to be citizens of Mojave County and this great nation. We pray that you would give those in leadership over us wisdom and discerning hearts that they might make decisions that enrich us as residents. We pray as well for all those who are serving in our county and especially our first responders, that you would protect them as they seek to protect us. And all of this may we feel your presence in this meeting. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, will you check if Supervisor Gould is on the phone?
Supervisor Gould, are you online?
I am.
All right, we call for an executive session to be held on January 19th, 2021 at 9 a.m. for discussion and consultation with legal counsel. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Committee and legislative reports. Supervisor Angus.
I don't have any legislative reports today, but I just want to mention that we have some new rules apparently in the beginning of the year with a new chairman. So I just wanted to let people know if they want to talk to me, you can't approach, but you can stand over there and I'll come talk to you during breaks or after the meeting or during the meeting. Like I said, during a break, or you can text me. My number is 928-201-5967. Thank you.
Supervisor Bishop.
I have nothing.
All right, County Manager's report.
Mr. Chairman, board members, good morning. I only have one item for the board.
Ron Gould.
And
It's
that
left the
is
conference.
related to the positive cases of COVID-19 in Mojave County Department of Pool. We are seeing an increase in those numbers, reflective of what's happening in the greater population. It is. Oh, thank you. Mr. Chairman, board members, my apologies. I didn't realize the mic was not on. So I only have one item for you today. It has to do with positive cases of COVID-19. And what I want to report to you
Has joined
is
the
that
conference.
those numbers are increasing and reflect what is happening in the within the population of Mojave County since November 21st, just before Thanksgiving. We've had 38 positive cases confirmed, and that is out of 60. So from the beginning, from March 2020 till now, we've had 60 total positive cases within Mojave County. 38 of those have occurred since November 21st. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve the October 22nd and 26th, 2020 Board of Supervisors meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is the consent, items 5 through 29. We'll take them all as one unless we have any to be pulled. Supervisor Angus?
No.
Supervisor Lingenfelter?
Nothing this morning, Chairman.
Supervisor Bishop?
I have nothing this morning. Thank you.
All right, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the consent as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Further discussion?
I don't think that we asked one.
Oh, sure. Ron, Supervisor Gould, do you have any items you want pulled?
None today, sir.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Move on to the public hearings. Item number 30, I open the public hearing. Discussion possible action, approve the adoption of Board of Supervisors Resolution 2021-007. Anybody from the public wish to address on this item? Hearing none, I'll close the public comment. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve item number 30.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'll open the hearing on item number 31. Discussion and possible action for approval, the adoption of Board of Supervisors Resolution 2021-08. Anyone from the public wish to address the board? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Have a motion from the board.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve item 31.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Open the public hearing for discussion, possible action, or approval to adopt Board of Supervisors Resolution 2021-009. Anyone from the public wish to address the board? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Have a motion from the board.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve resolution number 2021-009.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 33, open the public hearing, discussion, possible action, or adoption, approve the adoption of Board of Supervisors Resolution 2021-010. Anyone from the public wish to address the board? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion on item 33?
Motion to approve resolution number 2021-010.
Do we have a
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We have any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 34, open the public hearing. Discussion, possible action, approve the adoption of Board of Supervisors Resolution 2021-011. We have anybody from the public who wishes to address the board? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
I believe this is in your area.
Motion to approve item 34.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 35,
This one's yours.
open the public hearing, discussion, possible action, approve the adoption of Board of Supervisors Resolution 2021-012. Anyone from the public wishing to address this? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Have a motion from the board.
Motion to approve item 35.
Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'll open the public hearing For discussion and possible action, we approve the adoption of Board of Supervisors Resolution 2021-013. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to address the board? I will close the public hearing. We have a motion from the members.
Motion to approve item 36.
Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 38, I'll open the public hearing. Discussion, possible action. Approval of the adoption of Board of Supervisors Resolution 2021-015. Anyone from the public wish to address the board? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Regular agenda, item number 39, discussion possible action, section 3.1 or 3.500, the personnel policies and procedures. County Manager?
Mr. Chairman, board members, good morning again. Item number 39 is intended to address the emergency paid sick leave. Back in March, at the beginning of this pandemic, the board did adopt changes to Mojave County personnel policies and procedures, which is section 3.5, and it relates to attendance during pandemics. At that time, the board approved or adopted the changes for 30 days unless extended by the board. Following that, the board did extend those changes to section 3.5 until further notice, and the board did also adopt provision to allow for advanced PTO, but not to exceed 80 hours to employees who have not exhausted, who have not accrued that time yet. So fast forward, the board did revisit those policies in May and extended them. As far as the federal legislation that was recently passed, we are unaware of any extension. Therefore, the federal policy expired on December 31st, 2020, related to the pandemic and the emergency paid sick leave. So we bring it in front of you with the understanding that as of December 31st, the changes to the personnel policies and procedures, section 3.5, have expired, as well as the board approval related to the advanced PTO. With that said, we see still a need for the board to consider those. And for reference, we did reach out to the other counties in the state. We did get a response from a handful of those, including Yavapai and Yuma, which we often see as comparable in size to Mojave County. We also received a response from Maricopa, Pima, and even Santa Cruz, and all 5 counties have extended this paid sick leave. 3 of them extended it until March 31st of 2021. A couple of them extended it with no sunset date. Some extended it only for under the current guidelines, meaning they did not add any hours. Those that have used the hours will have no additional hours added. Those that have not used them would be able to do so until March 31st. We also think that the advanced PTO that the board approved last year still adds value. Otherwise, employees would perhaps consider coming to work when they're not feeling well, which would exacerbate the problem that we have. So to that end, staff would recommend the board consider extending the adoption or the adopted changes to Section 3.5 until at least March 31st of this year. Whether the board would like to consider extending it as is or add any hours, that would be at your discretion. For the record, Maricopa County did extend it and allowed for 80 hours to be used going forward, however, with a proof of a positive case. With that, I stop, and I'm happy to answer any question you may have for me.
Does anyone have any questions of the county manager?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
County Manager, how many people do we have out now that are taking advantage of this?
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Bishop, to date, we have over 300 county employees that have utilized that, 312 to be exact, and 311 used the emergency paid sick leave in one form or another, not necessarily the entire 80 hours. And one person have made use of the advanced PTO, so over 300.
Okay, and it looks like the numbers are still climbing, so I would support extending this.
Supervisor Gould, do you have any questions? Supervisor Langenfelter?
Manager Alters, you're asking the board to extend to the end of March?
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Lingenfelter, yes, indeed, that would be my recommendation after discussion with our staff. March 31st would allow the board to, depending on the status at that time, to reconsider and extend further if the board wishes to do so, but it gives us the ability to continue to manage between now and then.
Do we have any motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we extend this policy to March 31st, where we can then reconsider it.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second.
Mr. Chairman, if I may cut in before you vote on it, just to be clear, does the motion include both the emergency paid sick leave as well as the advanced PTO?
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
I should have stated that more clearly, but it does.
Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 40, approve appointments of members of the Mojave County Board of Supervisors to regional, state, and Mojave County boards. Should we just go down the numbers that are in the backup? Mojave County Board of Health. Does anybody want it? Or Supervisor Bishop want to continue?
I'll continue.
No problems. Corrections Officers Retirement Board, I'm on it. Anybody interested in it? Or I'll continue to stay on.
You've done a good job, and you can just keep that.
All right, Public Safety is the same thing with myself.
Yep.
Number 4 is the Leo member, Mojave La Paz Workforce Investment Board. Supervisor Bishop.
I'll continue on that one as well. Somebody else
And
wants?
Supervisor Gould.
I would like to continue.
All right. Mojave La Paz Workforce Investment Youth Council, that's Supervisor Bishop. Is it still interested, or is anybody else?
I would like to continue on that one.
All right. Self-Insurance Retention Employee Benefit Trust, Supervisor Angus.
I would like to continue on that.
All right. Arizona State Rural Schools Coalition Advisory Council, Supervisor Angus is on it. Are you interested in staying on that?
I'll stay on it, but I've never been notified about a meeting.
All right. Clean Colorado River Sustainable Coalition, Supervisor Gould is on that. Are they meeting,
I would like to
Supervisor
remain
Gould?
on that.
Okay, have they met, Supervisor Gould?
Telephonically.
Anyone else is interested? County Supervisor Association Legislative Policy Committee, Supervisor Angus.
Yes.
Mojave County Water Authority, that would be Supervisor Lingenfelter.
I would be interested in that. Thank you.
Okay.
I would also be interested in
Pardon?
that one.
Pardon?
I said I would also be interested in that one, so.
Is there anything that says we can't have two people appointed to that? Not that I'm aware of.
Mr. Chairman, board members, county attorney's office, neither the county attorney's office nor I are aware of any provisions or policies that would prohibit that. So we believe if the board wishes to proceed in that direction, that would be doable.
Anybody have a
Mr.
problem with
Chairman.
that? Find this. Supervisor Gould?
Mr. Chairman, that committee was established by the legislature, and it may have assigned seats.
So can they not assign another seat?
You would have to take a look at the statute that created it.
If that's the case, I would like to have Supervisor Lingenfelter take the lead and myself as an alternate in the event that he can't attend. I think that might work.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
Quad State Local Government Authority, I'm on it. Is anybody interested in being on that? Okay, I'll continue. WACOG Mojave County Advisory Council, Supervisor Lingenfelter.
I'll take over.
All right. WACOG Executive Board, Supervisor Lingenfelter.
I'll also take that one if I could.
Is that all? Page isn't going down. All right. That takes care of item 40. Do you have a motion to accept the boards and commissions as stated?
So moved.
A
Second.
We have a motion and a second. No further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 41, discussion possible action, the board's position on the resolution directing Mojave County, declaring Mojave County, Arizona as a constitutional sanctuary county. We have discussion on this. I saw we had a resolution that was submitted by Supervisor Lingenfelter.
Thank you, Chairman Johnson. I've been following this push since last year for a resolution 1776 in response to concerns with government overreach or perceived government overreach with regard to executive mandates on certain classes of citizens that run afoul of both our Arizona Constitution and our United States Constitution. I understand that many patriotic citizens believe that Mojave County must make a public statement in the form of a resolution. I want to acknowledge those individuals in the audience. I believe the Havasu Patriots group that I think initiated that discussion. I read the initial language that was submitted. I personally had a little bit of heartburn with some of the nullification language where it mentioned null and void, and I thought that was maybe not the direction that the county wanted to go. So what I did is, I'm not a constitutional law professor, so what I did was reached out to a constitutional law professor by the name of Elon Werman. Some people may be familiar with him already, with the proposed original language, to see if he would be willing to review it and possibly lend his academic and professional expertise toward revised language. And I did that because I wanted to make sure that we were on solid footing with whatever we did. For those that are unfamiliar with him, Mr. Werman is an associate legal professor at the ASU Sandra Day O'Connor College of Law, where he teaches administrative law and constitutional law. Professor Werman writes on administrative law, separation of powers, constitutionalism, and his academic writing has appeared or is forthcoming in the Yale Law Journal, the Stanford Law Review, the University of Chicago Law Review, the University of Pennsylvania Law Review, the Duke Law Journal, and the Texas Law Review, among others. He's also the author of 2 books, the first called A Debt Against the Living, An Introduction to Originalism, which was published in 2017. And just this last year, he came up with a second book, Second Founding, An Introduction to the 14th Amendment. Professor Werman is also an attorney that is currently representing over 130 Arizona bars in ongoing litigation against the state. Professor Werman announced on his Twitter page in December 2020 that the Arizona Supreme Court has agreed to hear their case. He also recently testified on December 2nd, 2020 before the Arizona State Legislature's Joint Ad Hoc Committee on Legislative Oversight of Emergency Powers. I believe the revised resolution language, does a number of important things. I think it avoids the potentially hazardous concept of nullification. It states a strong position that the overly broad and sweeping powers that the governor has continued to exercise for almost a year as one man and with no end in sight infringes upon the powers and immunities of certain classes of Arizona citizens and violate the non-delegation doctrine and the separation of powers contained in both the Arizona and U.S. constitutions. It calls upon the governor to abjure unilateral executive lawmaking. It calls out that lawmaking powers rightfully belong to the elected Arizona State Legislature. And it calls upon the Arizona Legislature to reestablish the required balance of power in the state by restoring the legislature to its proper lawmaking role, and encourages other Arizona counties to peaceably object by adopting a similar resolution of their own. There are clearly those within the Arizona State Legislature that believe similarly, as the Arizona Legislature recently held a joint ad hoc committee hearing on legislative oversight and emergency powers on December 2nd, 2020, to address these very same issues. The revised resolution is a strong statement from Mojave County in support of the Arizona State Legislature as their session starts this month, and they begin to peaceably legislate these important and contested policy questions on behalf of Arizona citizens. Thank you.
Supervisor Gould, have you had a chance to look at this?
Yes, I have, Mr. Chairman, and I believe it's a very well-written document.
Supervisor
And I
Gould,
would
can you
stand in
repeat
support
that
of the
last?
board.
Can you repeat that last, Supervisor Gould? It broke on us.
I believe it is a very well-written document, and I would support the board adopting that resolution.
Thank you. Supervisor Hagan.
I want to thank Supervisor Lingenfelter for the work he put in reaching out to this constitutional expert. And I want to also thank the Lake Havasu Patriots and Bill Mitchell for first bringing this up to us so as to give it the attention and make us right now have to think about who we are as a county. And with that, I agree with this wording as well. I could support this wording. Thank you.
Supervisor Bishop, you have anything?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We just took the oath of office, and for me, I've taken this oath of office over 10 times now. Our constitutional republic has worked well for over 200 years. I see no reason to try to challenge it as a Board of Supervisors. We're a nation of laws, and as I was saying, we're a nation of laws, and patriots work within the system to make changes to the laws. And lawgivers, if they don't like a law or agree with it, there's a process to change the laws. But the Constitution was written by some very smart gentlemen, and it's worked for us for over 200 years. So my stance on it is, if the law needs to be fixed, we take it to court or to the state legislation, or we do a ballot measure. We don't do resolutions or proclamations to change a document that's part of our history, and it's been working well for us. So. And this Professor Werman, he seems like a very educated young man. He's also an attorney that's representing the bar establishments, the liquor establishments. So I'm not sure if he's the one that should be giving input to anything that this board might consider, because he's involved personally in a lawsuit or several lawsuits. So I would like to hear, Mr. Chairman, what our county attorney has to say.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Chairman and Supervisor Bishop. The proposed resolution does not really have any legal authority. It is a political statement. Perhaps it's an effective political statement if the board wishes to adopt it. The danger is are we implying to the public that the board has the authority to declare governmental action unconstitutional? And it does not. There's a constitutional process established to challenge the constitutionality of government action. And if we're going to be constitutional, we should follow that process. But there is really nothing wrong with, there's nothing unlawful about the board stating its position that it feels that action, should be challenged, should be, that the board feels that some action may be overreaching. But, it would really not have any legal effect in declaring, that type of action unconstitutional. That's the court's job.
I have a question for the county attorney's office. If this board felt so strongly, could they join the lawsuit?
Yes, they could.
Thank you. My problem with it is the fact that we're saying that they violated the law, and I believe it hasn't been adjudicated yet. But barring that, I think the way I agendized it was to see if we had a position. And so if the board wants to do a resolution, I would say that the motion would be to send it to staff to have a resolution drafted for further board meeting.
That's correct, Chairman Johnson, that what has been proposed right now is just for consideration. That's the way that it's placed on the agenda. If the board wishes to adopt something like either resolution or either resolution with particular changes that the board would like to see, it should direct it back to staff for the preparation of a resolution that's in the form that the county uses and consistent with our numbering. And the resolution that would be proposed to be adopted would then be published to the public so that they could.
And then that resolution, if you have both of them that are submitted to staff to be redone, and staff adds whatever they would like to add, the resolution that's proposed can still be amended or changed at the board meeting, so that if somebody has, questions or concerns about wording, they could have it changed then?
That's correct.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Chairman Johnson?
Yes.
I could possibly support something that was written by staff, rather than to have a group from Lake Havasu or a professor from ASU telling us what we think. I don't like the idea of signing on to a resolution that says that we broke the law or violated the Constitution. If we did do that, I think there should be an investigation, and we should bring that forward. And if we did something wrong, we should be called on the carpet for it. But I don't believe we did. And I don't like signing on to something that says or alludes to the fact that possibly we did.
Chairman Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that we refer this to staff to use the wording from Supervisor Lingenfelter's resolution to format it in the format of Mojave County and bring it back at the next meeting for board approval or comments.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
Under discussion, using the format, if that's the same wording with just Mojave County's logo on it, I could not support that. I would want staff to write it in staff's wording, not the proposed resolution.
Okay.
Chairman
And-
Johnson?
And that can be discussed when it comes back. Yes.
May I ask Bob Taylor, are you or Ryan Esplin constitutional lawyers?
Chairman Angus, both of us have studied constitutional law in connection with our law school education. So in the bar exam, I've had 2 bar exams. I have practiced for 40 years, and during that 40 years, I have had several instances where constitutional issues were dealt with, but I don't consider myself a constitutional expert by any stretch. And Ryan probably has similar experience.
And so we were lucky enough to have a well-known constitutional lawyer take the time to reword what the Lake Havasu Patriots brought forward, and I think that would be enough. This wording I like. There were some problems with the last wording, and I want to again thank Lake Havasu Patriots for working with us and working with Supervisor Lingenfelter. So my motion stands.
Well, the only thing that I would add, and what's most important to me about this statement, is that I think it's important to call out that the Arizona legislature has already started to take up these issues in a joint ad hoc committee on legislative oversight of emergency powers. That has already occurred. On December 2nd, they held their first meeting. And as the legislature starts its session this month, they're going to continue in that. So I think that this statement is just supportive of the Arizona legislature to rebalance the ship.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign.
Nay?
Motion carries. I'll go to item 43 because I'm sure the health department's going to be too long. All right, let's keep the clapping down for a second here. Discussion, possible action, reimbursement from CARES funding to fire districts in the unincorporated areas of Mojave County. Supervisor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This came to my attention that the fire districts were the only level of government that did not receive CARES Act funding for PPE. I thought we might want to discuss whether we would like to reimburse them out of the $9.1 million of CARES Act money that the county received.
Anybody else? Supervisor Angus?
Thank you, Chairman Johnson. Yeah, this came to my attention as well. I think in the beginning, when everything was happening so quickly, I believe that the fire districts had been told that they were going to get some of the CARES money or maybe FEMA money, and I think they got a little something, but the fire departments, in our case the districts, are the frontline responders. And I think that's what the CARES money was meant for, to tell you the truth. I believe that the fire districts, especially our small rural ones, fell between the cracks because fire departments are most times, a lot of times, run by cities, municipalities, counties, and they shared their CARES money because that was what it was supposed to be. So I don't think it's a whole lot of money. We have one district in my, one fire district that's in my district that is working with the city because that's where I believe it should come from. because that's who they serve. But the fire districts that serve the unincorporated areas, I think it needs to be looked at, and I would be supportive in reimbursing them if they would work with staff to find out exactly. I think they've kept really good track of it. And again, looking at the numbers, it's not huge amounts of numbers. And it's not just PPE. It's just like we were talking about earlier about sick time and things like that. And with some of the government, the federal government edicts timing out December 31st, I think this was the best time to talk about it as well.
Chairman Johnson.
Supervisor Lingenfelter.
First, I'd like to thank Supervisor Gould and his staff for reaching out to all these rural fire districts. I believe this is a valid expense for CARES Act funding. The fire districts did fall between the cracks, and they serve a significant population in our rural areas. So it's not a large amount, but I think it'll help these rural fire districts a whole lot. One thing that I would ask to be included in the backup, I did not see Colorado City Fire District or Pinyon Pine Fire District. I spoke to both of those chiefs, and Colorado City Fire District would request $3,660. Pinyon Pine Fire District would request $3,400.
Chairman Johnson.
Supervisor Bishop.
I don't think all of the fire districts were contacted. Pinyon Pines is in my district, and of course, they were not contacted other than through you. Pine Lake was not, Lake Mojave Ranchos. So there's a number of small fire districts that would be included in this. So I would make a motion that we approve this and include all of the fire districts within Mojave County.
Mr.
Do I have a
Chairman,
second?
I will second that, but with the exception that Bullhead Fire Department isn't included in this because they are working with the city of Bullhead.
Okay.
You'll amend your,
Mr. Chairman,
one second. You'll amend your motion.
So let me
to
amend the motion
exclude Bullhead City Fire Department.
That we approve this with the exception of any fire departments that's already received CARES monies.
Were we sending it to staff to come back with the numbers so we know what we're doing, and then?
That'd be the best way. So I'm in the motion to approve this and have staff contact the different districts and make sure that they qualify.
That's okay with you?
Mr.
I guess
Chairman.
my problems are, I have a couple of them. First, I think the legislature should be paying the fire districts. And just previously, we're talking about telling the governor and everybody else that they're not doing their job. And this one is obviously something that the federal government should, or the state government should be doing. They've gotten millions of dollars. And I think that's where they should be taking this to get their money. Also, it could be a illegal gift of county funds. I don't know if that's true. That's something the county attorney should look at. And I guess third, we spent all our CARES money on the sheriff and other things. So we don't have any CARES money left, I don't believe, from the last report I got from the finance department. But county manager, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, board members, thank you for allowing me to provide some information on this. In preparation for this meeting, we reviewed the history and supporting documentations. So a couple of facts. The county applied for CARES Act money. We did commit to spending it on public safety and public health. We applied for $9.8 million to carry us from March through December 31st. We did receive $9.1 million that has been expended on public health and public safety, and it was expended in the first half, or up to the first half of December of last year. We have just received a letter from the governor's office certifying that they have received all the supporting documentations and that they have basically closed it. With that said, we understand the board desire to step up and help and assist. We also understand and believe that these fire districts had an opportunity and were eligible to apply. We truly do not know, we have not inventoried to see if they did apply and did not receive anything, if they applied and are waiting to receive, or if they have not applied at all. So to that end, and understanding that the board wishes, if the board would consider allowing staff to reach out to those districts and find out what has been done, even offer to help them either apply to under the CARES Act or through DEMA, the Department of Emergency Management Agency, to see if they can still qualify and receive some funds. Ultimately, we can come back to the board and provide you that information, and the board can act on it in future meeting. If that's acceptable to you, we would be more than happy to carry on in that direction. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, with that information, I'll rescind my motion.
All right. Do we have another motion to send it to staff?
I make a motion to refer this to staff to reach out to the fire districts in the unincorporated areas of Mojave County to gather information, costs, et cetera, to bring back how long? Next meeting, or do you need another, like a month?
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Angus, if you would give us until next month, with the understanding that we would report to you at the next meeting how we're progressing. If
Okay.
that's okay, then
Then
that's what
30 days.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second, discussion, Supervisor Lincoln.
Discussion. Thank you, Supervisor Johnson. Chair, County Manager Elters, are you saying the county received 9.1 and then that has been fully expended as of December? Is that what you said?
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Linkenfelter, yes, indeed, that is what I'm saying. The county did apply for 9.8, which was based on based on the principle of paying for salaries and benefits for public health and public safety through December 31st. We received 9.1 million, and that's why it ran out in December prior to December 31st. So yes.
Thank you.
Is there any other further discussion?
Yeah, I want to ask something of Sam. So it was for salaries and stuff. I mean, we've gone through this a million times, but we had money put aside for that. So it was a little bit of a shell game. I mean, that's just the truth of it. We have money, we put some money in the general fund, right? From that 9.1. We did in the budget. And I think that this would be a good use of the money that we put aside from the CARES Act that was supposed to go to first responders and things like that. And yes, before Supervisor Johnson says it, we did put $1 million towards body cameras. At the time, it was, with the information we had, it seemed like a good use of some of the money, but there was quite a lot of money that we used for what was designated, but what happened to the money that was budgeted for the benefits and salaries of our healthcare workers?
Chairman Johnson, Supervisor Angus, please understand I was not commenting on whether it's good use or not.
Okay.
So, and to your point, the money, an equivalent to $9.1 million obviously did stay in the general fund. Right. The board has committed to various programs, approximately half of that amount already, so the remainder of it is in the contingency fund of the county for the general fund.
Right. And just the last thing I want to say is, all in total, this really isn't a large amount of money. It's money, but it's not millions of dollars, so thanks.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Update from the County Health Director.
Chairman Johnson, members of the board, Happy New Year. I'll get started as I usually do with my numbers. As of December 31st, there have been a total of 11,967 COVID-19 cases in the county to date. 7,300 of those cases have recovered. We've had 313 deaths. 1,069 people have been hospitalized at some point during their illness. Average age of cases is 47.5. Average age of deaths is 75.7. I'll go through some hospital highlights next. To make sure I preface this information with the fact that hospital data is dynamic. It changes daily. It changes sometimes hourly, as a matter of fact. So what I present for you today is information that was pulled yesterday evening. So there'll be highlights from the week prior, okay? So our weekly summary is, as in recent weeks, Mojave County hospitals continue to face increasing COVID burden, resulting in heavy demands on hospital resources and staff. Reflecting the growing nursing staff shortage nationwide that has resulted in diversions from hospitals within the Phoenix area as well as California and many other areas throughout the U.S. A local staffing shortage may not be readily overcome by outside resources, leaving Mojave County hospitals unable to meet demands in the near future. And I think you've seen that. There have been monies put towards staffing issues within the county, within the state. Unfortunately, money doesn't buy people graduating more quickly from nursing school with experience to address some of these ICU cases and more severe cases. So part of it is really just fewer people to do the work. Last week, Mojave County EDs averaged together over 100 COVID plus visits per day. Ventilator use by COVID plus patients doubled the previous week's usage. ICU and inpatient bed average availability reached new lows, while average percent of beds occupied reached new highs. One hospital is on caution diversion status due to the ICU waiting list. 2 hospitals are on contingency standards of care, and 3 hospitals report staffing shortages. Not news, I'm sure, to you. I'm sure you've seen this. As far as cases and deaths, cases are up by 15% over last week, previous week. At this point, we may get more. Highest number of cases in a week, more than 3 times our summer peak week. The number of cases are increasing and higher than ever in all age groups, including the under 20s. We had 47 deaths in the first 4 weeks of December, and then we had 35 in November. Certainly, the 35 is less than the 87 we had in our worst 4 weeks, and the 47 is less than the worst weeks that we had in the June-July timeframe, but still among the highest. And long-term care facilities, skilled nursing facilities still are very low contributors to the number of cases in our county. What we have seen is a significant jump in the number of school-age children. As you can see, that under 20 age group, it's really measured in 5 to 18-year-olds. We are seeing a large jump there, and I think that's at least potentially why you're seeing the superintendent of public schools reaching out and requesting that all schools remain in distance learning for 2 weeks to allow time for cases to resolve. And in addition, they're also looking to determine if that variant is in Mojave County from the UK, and if that is a contributor to the potential spread within our community. Questions so far? I'm going through things rather rapidly. I'm not intending to do so. But if you have a question, please feel free to.
Supervisor Angus?
Thank you. So I have a question about the time that people can be considered COVID positive to deaths, because the wording was changed a little in the information we get. So let's say I get COVID today, right? And then in a couple of weeks, I'm fine, but in a month, 2 months, I have a heart attack and die. Because I was COVID positive in that I think that I heard that Arizona is 60 days, whereas most other states are 30 days. Is that a correct assumption?
You know, I don't have that fact in front of me, Supervisor Angus, so let me please look at that.
But
you
it's
don't mind.
true, though. I mean, if you were positive any time within a certain period of time, and you die of something, you know, I'm not going to say unrelated, because we don't know whether they're related or unrelated, they're going to say that you were a COVID death.
I believe the physician makes the call in determining.
The physician makes the call.
The physician absolutely makes the call in how to rule a cause of death. So that is a physician, attending physician's decision, and they determine what the actual cause of death is based on the facts that they know about the particular case.
Okay, and there's just one more piece of numbers I wanted to say, because it sounded, you know, it's not great, the number of positive cases, but there is a little bright spot in that the percentage of deaths in relation to COVID positive cases in December was 1.1, which is the, I think, lowest number. So we have more cases, but less deaths, and that is something positive.
Absolutely, Supervisor Angus. I mean, I don't think you could deny that. The therapeutics have improved greatly. The treatments, we've intervened sooner in many cases. So I think that's truly a benefit. I just want to point out that's still a lot of lives lost. So that's something that I think weighs heavily on families and friends, and that we need to consider. So, absolutely.
Supervisor Johnson?
Supervisor Bishop?
I just wanted to note that based on personal experience, my husband died about 20 days ago. He had COVID-19. That was not the cause of his death. And I do have his death certificate now in hand. It says nothing about COVID-19 as being the cause of his death or related to the cause of his death. So just wanted to throw that in there. That's real-time information that I can share.
Thank you, Supervisor Bishop. Are there questions? Go ahead, Mr. Burley.
Thank you. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about the variant, which has been out in the news quite a bit. That has been identified in Colorado, and I stopped because I know that it's also been identified in another state, and I apologize that I don't have that listed here. Thank you. And California. The variant is about 50% more transmissible than the virus currently circulating in our county. And then even though this variant is not more virulent, meaning it is no more deadly, it remains a threat to the healthcare system because of the rate of case growth. And with case growth has come increased hospitalizations. Even if we haven't seen the deaths associated with cases as we did over the summer, that level, we still have a strain on our hospital system as a result of this. Just so that you're aware too, the vaccine that's currently available is expected to provide protection against this variant. So hopefully we'll maintain that.
Director Burley, just so I'm clear, are you testifying this morning that although our cases are going up, that the virus is actually becoming weaker and causing less deaths? Just so I'm clear.
Thank you, Supervisor Lingenfelter. I don't believe I'd say it's weaker. I would say that our therapeutics have improved, our treatment levels and medicines available to treat this have improved greatly, and we've learned a lot about the virus to the point where I think we're able to treat people better.
There's still that existing strain on our healthcare services workers.
Correct. Absolutely. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about vaccine. I know that's on everyone's minds. Staff continue to meet with city leadership, hospital staff, pharmacy managers, and first responders weekly to ensure vaccine arriving in our community will reach the 1A priority population, which includes healthcare workers, emergency medical service workers, and long-term care staff and residents. Just to give you some updates here, Mojave County facilities have received 5,700 doses of Moderna the week of December 20th, 2,000 doses the week of December 27th, and will receive 1,000 doses this week for a total of 8,700 doses in Mojave County of the last 3 weeks. The 1,000 doses that I mentioned will start arriving in our county tomorrow and Wednesday, so not today. Due to the known issues with the ADHS vaccine management system, we do not have an accurate accounting of the number of vaccinations that have occurred in Mojave County. We do hope to have this information. ADHS is working on this computer issue, and we hope to have it resolved. They hope to have it resolved, and we hope to have that information to you by mid to late this week. But we'll make sure that we pass that along as soon as we have it available to us.
Director Burley, I have a question. Were you and IT going to put together a website or a page to get things?
Thank
Where's
you.
that at?
It's actually in my notes, so.
Okay, go ahead then.
Okay, perfect, thank you. We have 16 onboarded facilities throughout Mojave County providing vaccinations to the 1A priority population. So we do have a number, and they're all throughout the county, including up in Beaver Dam, Littlefield, and Colorado City. So, and I'll keep going, Supervisor Johnson, if you don't mind, and I will make sure I address your question. As you're probably aware, the governor issued an executive order last week on Wednesday, and I'll go through some of the provisions of that executive order for your review and talk about at least two of these bullet points, which will refer directly to public health and our steps we will be taking. So the Arizona Department of Health Services shall establish a statewide vaccine allocator model to rapidly expand access to vaccinations. In this case, I know that this is a topic for our health officer meeting tomorrow afternoon, so we hope to have more information on what ADHS is looking at and what steps, and then we'll have our opportunity to provide input into that plan. ADHS may take possession of vaccine allocations and reallocate them to provide statewide coverage for rapid distribution and administration. We'll also probably get more information from ADHS tomorrow as well on that. We don't know what that looks like. Private vaccine sites shall only be established after consultation with ADHS. And I know there was we asked that question of what a private vaccination site was. And so I have that available for you, and I'll read that if you don't mind. Private vaccination sites would generally be those sites that aren't open for all members of a specific priority group. For example, if you were vaccinating phase 1A healthcare workers but only allowed certain members of that group to receive services at that site, it would be considered private. A more real example might be an employer-based vaccination clinic at a workplace, where that is only open to that particular workplace. So that is how they're defining private vaccination sites. Okay. So, two provisions that relate directly to the county is local health departments shall display prominently on their website the phase their county is currently vaccinating and location of those vaccination sites. So staff worked last week to ensure that the phase was on our webpage. And then I need to check, but I believe we also posted the vaccination websites, or not websites, but the locations on our page. To build on that, yes, we did work with IT. IT took steps and used another site that was already developed and mirrored that basically and created a vaccine-specific webpage. We are going to be working with them this week to populate that webpage because we need to create the text and the information that goes in it for Mojave County-specific information. So we'll be working this week to create that. But at this point, we have met the executive order requirements, but we do want to, this will be vaccine-specific, so any information that was posted on our other webpage, we can move over to this so the public will have some very clear information about where and what phase. And any other information, we'll put our frequently asked questions on that page. We'll put the phase diagram, the infographic, so people can see when the time frame, the time frames for those phases and who actually is in each of those phases. ADHS anticipates the transition to phase 1B, which includes teachers, childcare staff, protective service workers, and individuals 75 and older in most counties by mid to late January at this point. That could be sooner. Again, We're in conversation, as are all health officers, with ADHS on this topic, and we anticipate more information in the next week or so.
I have a question, Director Burley. I'm sure all of us are getting calls on how do people sign up. I don't know if you're going to cover that or not.
Right now, since we're primarily in the 1A phase, by posting the list of vaccination sites, those are the agencies or facilities that people should contact directly to make appointments to get those vaccines. But they need to make sure that they are in the 1A group. We didn't post this site or this information prior to this, not because we were trying to hide it, but simply because we're trying to minimize the impact on these facilities and the calls that they may get as a result of people wanting to be on a wait list. And they, at that time, didn't have a wait list available. So they're all developing their own systems to try to track movement through the system, and we'll work with them on publishing and getting information out to the community about who's available to vaccinate the 1A, 1B, 1C, and so on as we go through that.
Chairman Johnson.
Sorry, go ahead.
Supervisor Bishop?
Director Burley, I have a question. When you're going through the phases, if there's a phase and everyone that wants to get a shot has done that, and there's product left over, is that wasted, or can you use that on the next phase, or anyone that can come in after those identified have been taken care of?
Supervisor Bishop, thank you for asking that question. The goal is never to waste vaccine. So in some instances, what we found is there have been smaller facilities that may have 17 appointments, 18 appointments in a day, and the vials come in doses, in 10-dose vials. So in those cases, what they've done is to prevent vaccine wastage, because once you've punctured the bottle, the vial, it's good for 6 hours, is that they have pulled somebody from a 1B category to vaccinate. We want to try to emphasize the importance of staying with 1A, and they're all looking at systems to try to maybe have a call-down system of some sort to call out to people who may be in that phase, but realize you have a very small window of time for people to drop things and get in, and you don't want to overwhelm those particular providers by throwing out an all-call, and then you have 20 people showing up for a vaccine when you really only had 2 doses. So it's a very logistical heavy kind of process, and we want, we'll continue to encourage people to stay within that phase, but understand that there are going to be instances where the priority is not wasting vaccine.
Okay, good, thank you.
I also, building on the web page, we recognize that not everybody has access to web pages, so we'll be looking into strategies for informing groups that do not have access to web-based services, internet, and email, and try to find strategies to reach out to those groups when those phases change and that information becomes more available. That is my update. Any other questions?
No questions, I believe.
Okay.
Supervisor Gould, do you have any questions?
Not today,
Thank you.
Chairman.
All right, that concludes our regular meeting. We have call to the public. Anyone wishing to address the board on items that aren't on the agenda can do so. We have some people signed up. Greg Befort.
Good morning, Supervisors. For the record, my name is Greg Beffert. I'm a resident of Lake Havasu City, and I'm a member of the Havasu Patriots organization. I wanted to, first of all, thank Supervisor Lingenfelter for his work and his assistance in trying to get these proclamations or these resolutions and the language worked out where it's palatable for both the county, and our group, and that's what we hope to accomplish here. I just want to talk a little bit about the condition of humanity right now and where we are. If you take a look at where we are as a human species, and you look at what's happening in the world now and ask yourself, are we evolving? Are we evolving as a species, or are we devolving? And I'd argue that we're definitely devolving as a human species. And what's happened over the last year with the COVID-19 and the what we believe is an overreach of the government all over the world, this isn't just an isolated incident that Mojave County's experienced, and you all know that. The only way that it can be orchestrated on a scale that large is through manipulation and mind control of the masses. And I know a lot of people, the minute they heard the term mind control, oh, that doesn't apply to me. I'm in full control of my mind and my faculties and my emotions. And I would argue that 95% of the human population is under the influence and has been of mind control. You've been conditioned, we have all been conditioned to accept certain realities, ones that they're trying to create for us now. And that's unfortunate. People have lost their ability to discern the truth from lies. People have lost their ability to discern their rights from wrongs. And that's unfortunate. So one of the things I want to kind of address here today is, and I certainly don't have time to give a lesson on rights and wrongs. These are things that hopefully your parents would have taught you. But we know that because of the environment that we grew up in, we've been conditioned to think differently. I want to read a quote here from Lysander Spooner. It says, "A man's natural rights are his own against the whole world, and any infringement on them is equally a crime, whether committed by one man calling himself a robber or by millions calling themselves government." Okay. So we talk about natural rights. These are things that individuals just don't have a grasp of. And I'd urge people to learn about the Constitution, know your rights, know a right from a wrong, and understand natural law. Thank you,
sir. Robert McGregor.
Robert McGregor, Bullhead City. To keep your oath of office, you have to have correct evidence. I mean, if you're going to pass this bureaucratic fiat to take people's rights away, you have to have proper evidence. And I don't believe that this evidence for COVID-19 is legitimate. I think it's false. I have enough going on the internet and have enough information that, for instance, people get paid more money if hospitals get paid more money if they can diagnose it COVID-19 versus the regular flu. The flu is going down, COVID's going up. So I believe this whole motivation, I mean, how do you uphold your oath of office when you don't have proper evidence? When you have communist judges who will pass unconstitutional laws saying that this executive order from the governor of Arizona is legitimate when it's not, and what do? I mean, when a judge is corrupt, how do you fight against something like that? I mean, this whole thing is a complete, it's meant to take our rights away. It's meant to take our freedoms away. Look what's happened. You have an entire generation of people have lost everything because of this phony baloney pandemic. It's false. It's not true, in my belief. All the evidence is false. And you're taking away everybody's savings. People are not allowed to go to work. Millions of people in the world are starving to death because the world economy has been purposely collapsed by whoever, the global elite, the Illuminati, globalism, whatever, whoever they are. This thing has been planned for a long time, and the evidence to underpin it is all false. None of it is for real. And when you hear about, oh, we've got COVID-19, not many people believe that it's for real. I know that most people wear masks, but I think and I've talked to a lot of people, and a lot of people say, oh yeah, the masks are false. But I do it just because, and that is a whole nother issue. The fact that people are so feeble-minded that they would wear masks because they're told to by society, you know what I mean? So how can you possibly pass a just law if you don't have proper evidence? And who gets to challenge this evidence? Hildy, you proposed, anyway.
Thank you, sir.
One of the good guys.
Bill Mitchell.
Good morning, Mojave County Board of Supervisors, and Happy New Year. I want to thank you for your careful consideration of the resolution that we put forward and taking the time, Supervisor Lingenfelter, to employ a constitutional attorney to review it and to make his suggestions about how we might better improve that resolution. And we look forward to working with you in the future to assuring the constitutional rights of the citizens of Mojave County are protected. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mark Steigler. Stefan Tambanello.
My name is Stephen Tuminello, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself as a resident of Mojave County, the Havasu Patriots Organization, and Sheriff Richard Mack, founder of the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. The Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association is supportive and endorses the Havasu Patriots and Resolution 1776 declaring Mojave County a constitutional sanctuary county. The Chief Law Enforcement Officer in Mojave County, our County Sheriff Doug Schuster, has proclaimed that he is a constitutional sheriff, and the CSPOA and the Havasu Patriots proudly stand behind Sheriff Schuster. Last May, Sheriff Richard Mack asked me to head up a committee so that we could create a proclamation from the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association that would be sent to the over 3,000 sheriffs in the United States. This proclamation was to advise these sheriffs to honor their oath to the Constitution and to the people of their counties. The participants on this committee were some of the biggest names in the Patriot community, including several nationally known constitutional attorneys, entertainment personalities, news media personalities. This proclamation stated that the county sheriff is the last and the best hope to restore the republic. In point of fact, no governor in any state has the authority to suspend the Constitution, and no pretended emergency powers legislation can give it to him because the legislature cannot give the governor an authority that they themselves do not have. And any attempt for a governor to suspend the constitutional rights is an act of lawlessness and a violation of his or her oath of office. When law enforcement officers take an oath of office, they swear obedience and fidelity to the Constitution. Moreover, their duty requires that they resist such edicts and orders and that they act in such a manner as to shelter and protect the citizenry from all acts of lawlessness, even and especially when they originate from civil authorities. This is why it is so important for the Mojave County Board of Supervisors to adopt Resolution 1776, declaring Mojave County a constitutional sanctuary county. Now, we've already received national attention, and this would make Mojave County a shining example for the rest of the nation, as well as the state of Arizona. And by the way, you've already passed part of our resolution because back in November of 2019, it was a unanimous vote by the Board of Supervisors, the County Board of Supervisors, to make Mojave County a Second Amendment sanctuary. Do you remember that? Ms. Angus? Okay. I think you and Senator Borelli and State Representative Leo Biasucci were unanimous on this. So you've already done part of it. We'd like you to complete the process. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Richard Hawkins.
Board. My name is Richard Hawkins. I'm from Lake Havasu City, and I'm involved with the Havasu Patriots. I'm here to talk about the oath of office. I retired out of the military. I've taken the oath of office, same as you. I've also worked for the state, so I've taken oath of office to 2 constitutions at once. The Supreme Court has ruled that when a person takes an oath of office, it includes the organic laws of the United States. These are the foundational documents that have put this nation together and the basis for what this nation's about. It includes the Declaration of Independence, Articles of Confederation, the Northwest Ordinance, and the Constitution. This especially includes, for the government, securing our inalienable rights, such as life, liberty, property, and pursuit of happiness that you find in the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence. What this boils down to is self-government and limited civil government from infringing on our liberties, our personal liberties. We have a checks and balance system based on federalism and the three branches of government to hold civil government at bay to the confines of what the constitutions allow. This also includes the doctrine of lesser magistrates to protect our inalienable rights by the lesser magistrate holding the higher magistrate at bay if they're giving unconstitutional edicts. And this is what the Resolution 1776, as Supervisor Lingenfelter has come up with, to hold the higher magistrate at bay and to announce to the higher magistrate that they have given unconstitutional edicts. And this should be done for almost every edict coming down, not just for COVID. Thank you very much.
Karen Vanderjack.
Hi, my name is Karen Vanderjack. I'm a resident of Lake Havasu City and a member of the Havasu Patriots. And I want to welcome the Supervisor Lingenfelter. Great addition because he knows how to do his homework. Excellent. Okay, I came here to be just so positive. I was just going to compliment you all down the line, and I'm going to. But I was a little upset about a couple of things that I want to mention. The health person who was here reporting, she didn't even mention anything about the financial incentives you have for putting someone down as having COVID. That wasn't even mentioned. So I thought I'd say she could put that on the website. That would be good. Okay. Now, I was a little upset a couple weeks ago when the attorney was allowed his input. It was very disturbing because he spewed out case laws that were decided by Obama-appointed justices. This is our justification for what we're trying to accomplish. The inability for an attorney who is unable to distinguish case laws, the ability to interpret organic laws of our land, the same organic laws he took an oath to honor and follow. I think it's important that we understand that. I had to take an oath as a teacher. I signed an oath, and I'm also under those organic laws. The United States Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation, and the Northwest Ordinance. But yes, I came to say something positive, so I want to get that out before my time is up. So you were listening. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for listening. This is so refreshing. I just want to say we're on the same team. And I was kind of sad when I'd say something else negative, sorry, but one of you supervisors said, I don't think we need the opinion of those people out there because, we decide this. And I thought, wait a minute, don't you work for us? I don't know. Am I right? I don't know. Okay, I'll say this to agree. We are here to help, but we're going to hold your feet to the fire on these things. And one thing I would suggest, is just a suggestion, that the Mojave County Attorney General, if he's going to put somebody on your board, that he has some knowledge of the Constitution. And I don't think this one has it. And there's lots of people who are, into constitutional law. So I would just say that, hey, that should be the deciding things, not just spewing out a bunch of case law. That's not following the Constitution. So thank you.
Scotty McClure.
Buster, apparently you've changed the way you're doing things here. I'd appreciate it after we're all done that you would explain this. I remember Hildy, when you objected to him to be the chairman of the board, he said, okay, you guys need to explain what's going on. So anyway, I thought we had a right to say something while you were discussing this 1776 resolution, not after. You've already passed this stuff. First of all, I want to disagree with the recoveries. I think 0 would be the right number on recoveries. I'm going to listen to the doctors and scientists, not politicians. 0 recoveries. You're going to may find that out in 5-6 months, how long this stuff lasts. This is a perfect time for term limits. That would mean you guys, and especially these clowns in Washington, D.C. Can you imagine what's going to happen when AOC and Kamala Harris are around for 30 years? Term limits. The president is term limited. Do you know what? When Obama becomes president again, when our Kamala Harris becomes president, she's going to appoint him as vice president, and guess what? When she quits, Obama's in again. Fictitious, huh? Yeah, think about that. And this channel 10.4, the Grio network, going on the TV, you're not going to like that TV station, which is Fox signed a big-time contract with them to put this Grio network off. They took off Flipper and the Movies for Kids channel. And you're not going to like what's going on, this crap. Look it up. It's in the computer. I had the Lake Havasu Library look it up for me. It's agenda. And you are not going to like anything that's going to be on that channel. I don't know if we can block, but to hell with Fox. Throw them off the air. I started seeing this state change. We're going red, blue, blue, red, whatever. Back in 1979, I was working down in Tucson. I'm not going to go into particulars, but that's how they've been taken over. It started in Tucson. And watch out, these new people moving here. You better know Kelly Ward better know how to redistrict this state. Because Buckeye and that area there, you're going to have people moving from Silicon Valley to here, and they're bringing jobs, and they're bringing all these laws from California here. And they bring their wives and husbands. They're all a bunch of liberal creeps. And this state's going to flip again. We've already lost 2 Senate seats. Kelly Ward needs to come up here and give us an explanation.
All right, thank you, sir. David Johnson.
Morning, and thank you. My name is David Johnson. I just moved to Golden Valley from Oklahoma. And I understand when I came to the first meeting, your lawyer said that they follow the rule of law. And I looked it up in the dictionary, and that means positive. There was no change. and I want to read to you. I'm 82 years old. I'm lucky I was born with good health, but I work at it too. And I want to read to you, I'm exempt from all regulations mandating face masks usage in public. Wearing a face mask poses a health risk to me. Under the ADA and HIPAA, I am not required to disclose my medical conditions to anyone. Department of Justice ADA violation information line is 800, if you want to check, 514-0301. Organizations, this is what kind of got me, because I understand that, maybe you can straighten me out, that Mojave County, there's not a required mask. But if I go into a department store or a business of any kind, they require it. But it says the Department of Justice, the organization and businesses can be fined up to $75,000 for the first ADA violation and $150,000 for any subsequent violations. Attention government agents, please provide lawful and necessary considerations to aid the bearer in the unimpeded exercise of constitutionally protected rights. Thank you for your understanding and assistance.
Thank you, sir. Chris Rodati.
Chris Rodarty, Kingman. 2020 was a year we nearly lost America. It was a year of government overreach and tyrannical rule, a year of illness, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. The year of the COVID, a power-hungry tyrant's dream. A year in which unelected health department bureaucrats introduced the face mask and social isolation to the masses. A year of fear, a year in which we were ordered to roll over and take it. Whatever government told us to do, just do it for our own good. We don't know how to take care of our own health, you squawked. Shut up and mask up, Arizona. By the way, since masks don't work, why are we still muzzling? I don't know. And with each diagnosed case, the CARES Act spigot spews forth. For every case of Wuhan flu, more money will flow to you. You, meaning those agencies empowered to drag out the health emergency and curve flattening to infinity if necessary. The year of spying on and turning in neighbors. The year of outrageous fines for businesses struggling to stay open and feed their families. The year of shutdown and lockdown. Schools, churches, and small business. Isolating and separating families and masking children of all things. All in the name of saving humanity from a virus with a 98% recovery rate. And now, as we enter 2021, the insanity continues. No end in sight. Forced vaccinations loom on the horizon. An inquisitive person may ask why a vaccine is even needed with a high recovery rate percentage. Something to ponder. Restoration of our republic starts on the local level, and you, Mojave County Board of Supervisors, can be part of the solution instead of continuing to perpetuate the problem. As Patrick Henry once said, we are not weak if we make a proper use of those means which the God of nature has placed in our power. The battle, sir, is not to the strong alone. It is to the vigilant, the active, and the brave.
Thank you. That's the last speaker. We are adjourned.